Hey, what's happening, guys? Currently here in Bedford, Pennsylvania. We are at the old Bedford Village. This is going to take us back to the colonial days. So let's inside and take a gander. Check it out. You ready? Huh?
There's a communication.
I don't know.
Hi.
Hello there. A little cooler in here.
Yes.
Where are you folks from?
From Irwin.
Oh, not too far then.
No.
I have friends in Irwin. Get my horses out there once in a while.
Yeah.
Wow, this is so neat.
Have you been here before?
No, this is my first time.
Okay. Well, just a little bit about the town. You may know some of this. It is a recreated village, so it was never an actual town. Bedford is the old town over there. Have you been into Bedford?
Yeah.
Yeah, Route 30 goes right through it. It's a nice, quaint little town, but it does not look like it did back when George Washington was there last. 1794, those folks out your way, out Irwin, Pittsburgh way, didn't want to pay their whiskey taxes. Tell me you still don't want to pay your whiskey taxes. George Washington, as president, brought 13,000 soldiers to Bedford. And of course, it was never any big battle, but it was a show of force, and we're still paying taxes, so we know how it went. And he stayed in that little stone Epsy house over there, Espy House, I'm going to say it right. And when he woke up in the morning and walked out to review 13,000 troops and looked around, he saw a town that looked more like this in the 1790s. Because it was a log town, just like Ligonier, just like Pittsburgh was a log town. Most all our towns started out as a log town. So in the 1970s, that's when they decided to make this little town to look more like Bedford used to. And of course, today was opening day, July 4th, 1976. The 4th of July was opening day for Old Bedford Village.
Wow.
That was America's big 200th birthday. I was young then, and we were all excited about that. They only had about 6 buildings ready to look at, though. So it took till the 1980s to get everything that we'll see here today in place. You have your map. You're going to need that a little bit if you want to know where you are. The signs disintegrated that said the name of the house and the number. So now you're going to have a green post out front with a number. Our Potter made those numbers. Then you can look on your map, number one, the Biddle House, and that'll tell you. Then you can turn your map over and it'll tell you a little bit about each of the buildings. So this one, excuse me, go ahead.
Yeah. I was just going to ask what this one was all about.
This was an actual house. You can see on your map there are 40 structures, which was ambitious, with no funding, just economic money. So they put 40 structures here, all in all. Out of the 40, about half of them were actual buildings other places. This was an actual house about 8 miles over that way. The bridge was an actual bridge about 8 miles over that way. And number 3 and number 4. Now the church, which you can see if you look across the town square, the red doors peeking out behind the trees.
Yeah.
That's our church. That was never a church at all. It's based on the old log church, which is Route 30 West, about 11 miles. And this, when you get over there, you'll see they couldn't resist the steeple in the vestibule. This looks more like my house. There's no steeple on that. But they have the raised pulpit and the balconies, and they kind of loosely based it on this little church. This church is still there. They didn't donate it here, which is a good thing because it needed to stay there.
Preserved.
The tavern, nobody had a tavern to donate. So the tavern's at the far end of the loop. It's a big loop since it's not a real town. And it was designed by Penn State students. Somebody said how appropriate. his daughter went to Penn State. And who did all this work? 18, 19, 20-some-year-old guys in the 1970s went up with unemployment at 21 to 23%. What is it today? Anybody know? 3 point something.
3 point something, yeah.
Yeah. So no Sheetz, no McDonald's, no Burger King for teenagers and young folks in their 20s to get jobs. Manpower, CETA, on-the-job training paid 18, 19, 20-some-year-old guys in the 1970s. Today it'd have to be girls and guys to go out to these old houses, rip off the plaster, tear off the siding, number the logs, bring them here and put them back up. Our broommaker was young then. They're in their 60s and 70s all over Bedford County going, yeah, we worked on that. Our broommaker was young then. He was in on some of it. I said, Phil, well, what did they use, a crane? He said, oh, no, we had 2 pole trucks, telephone pole trucks. I'm not sure how much he was in on dismantling them, but I know he was here then. Then bringing them here and putting them back up, of course, all the old chinking falls out. So you got to make new chinking, which is pretty cementy. The old chinking would have been mud, clay, straw, horsehair, manure, sand, lime, whatever. We had a lady in here from India this morning, and she said, she asked about termites in these logs, and I'm going, well, I don't hear about termites too much out here, and these weren't treated at all. She said about in India, they used dried cow dung for their floors, and that deterred termites. And in the older days, and some places out in the country still. So I didn't talk to Mr. Google about that one yet. It's interesting to look up, but we didn't get to that yet. So, but even with a cement mixer and electricity, which they probably had, to mix up all this cement, it's still, just think what it would take to chink this house. Now, it's not solid chinking, it's rubble in there. They put rocks, and you can see some of it falling down. Then you mixed up your mixture and smeared it over top, which the actual chinking would crumble more. And as soon as you could, when you build a log house, you got plaster, you got siding. It might take 100 years, but as soon as you could, you got it. A couple reasons. One, it protected the logs, and another, it's a little hard to do. The farmhouse down there has a cook stove in it. Even though it was built in the end of the 1700s, it was lived until the 1940s, and they chose to represent about the 1850s or 60s when the cook stove. And the barn was original too. It came from the barn. And so that's the time that they represented down there. They built a little house down at the end of the loop called the Victoria House. It was completely built here out of salvage material, just like some of these buildings were. Out of the 40, only about half of them were actual buildings. And I mentioned 18, 19, 20, some people, I don't know. And that's like 1890s. You can look at a couple of buildings that's supposed to represent about 1890s. So kind of mishmashes around. You get down to the end of the loop, the tavern's down there. It's an impressive building, and it's to be back in the old time frame. So it was economic money, not history money. They did the best they could, and we are now a living history site. 2 weeks ago, it was Wild West and cowboys. You go out my door, you're in a town out west in the 1880s. It's one of the reenactors that something all day. You're sleeping in some of the buildings and cooking. Civil War 2 weeks before that. Yes, lots of tents, but some of them. And you wouldn't move into Fort Ligonier or a museum and touch all their stuff and put a fire in their fireplace. Right. And that's what we can do here, have a little more fun. A lot of the stuff in here is 35 years and don't take care of them. So, of course, the last 10 years or so, we're trying to work on taking care of some of these buildings, which were not taken care of for the first 25 years. It was new. All of a sudden, it wasn't new anymore. But,
So neat.
so where are you folks from?
Just north of Butler.
Okay, not too far then. What's original from this house is about 8 to 10 miles away.
So what kind of camera is that?
This is a GoPro.
It is?
6, yeah.
Okay, which one is it?
This is a 6 black.
Okay, so that's just an extra lens that you bought for the,
This is a casing you can buy.
right?
Nope, you don't know me.
So, where are you from?
Texas.
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 Wow.
You're not lost, are you?
We might be.
No, we're heading up to Maine.
This is New Mexico, isn't it?
Yeah, so
Yeah, Maine. You're going to see some maniacs.
you're darn right.
I believe it. Why Maine?
Well, we just have been to Bar Harbor before.
Bar Harbor.
Bar Harbor
Bar Harbor.
and Acadia National Forest,
Uh-huh.
and he wanted to see more inland Maine. So
We might not
I'm
get
going
there.
to give you a little warning. They got roads up there that are really wide and dirt. If you see a truck coming, get off the road. Because those roads belong to logging companies. That trucker owns that road. You'll run right over you.
I think he's pretty much saying you're doomed.
Logs come on, you see a log
out of the way.
Get out of his way.
Okay, we just changed our plans. We're going to Vermont now.
Otherwise, Maine's not a bad place.
This must be another living quarters. Fireplace. I guess you can't go up the steps.
Fine, I'll work right there. I have to go to the truck for that. I'll be right back.
okay.
So if you get over there, you just wait on the
All right.
couple minutes here.
From Irwin. Yes, that's okay. It's like an hour,
Oh, okay.
15 minutes from here.
You're making brooms.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Much as I'd rather be working on guns, taking buckets and barrels.
So everybody here volunteers?
Nope, I work for money.
Oh, okay.
I like money.
So you get, do you come here every day?
No, I come
okay.
here 4 days a week.
Awesome.
I'm getting ready to retire.
Awesome.
I'm not going to do this too long. I started here 40 years ago.
Oh,
I worked here for 2 years, and then I went away, got a real job. Now I'm back. Reason being, I just figured instead of starting a new career, as close as I was to retiring, I'd just do something I knew. Something besides farming. So what do you do in Texas?
I'm a dental hygienist. I clean teeth all day.
All day.
All day.
All day.
Goodness, you find something nicer to work on, like
Well, they're nice teeth.
they're nice teeth. That's better than speaking English. Then English can't say it right at all.
Hello.
Howdy. Oh boy, you've been to Death Valley, and you're still alive. Okay. I'm going to talk about brooms or something interesting.
brooms you make a day?
Not very many. That there big flat one there, I made it to here the other day. I can actually stretch it out to 3 days. I mean, I know a guy over the mountain here, he'd been making brooms for 40 years or better. He can do that in about 15, 20 minutes.
Oh, wow. Oh,
I
wow.
mean, man's a wizard,
Yeah.
really. I tell people I'm a ranked amateur. I mean, I'm a lot better than the last person they had here working, who couldn't make a broom at all. Anyway, what we're using is broom corn. Now, it ain't corn at all. It's a type of sorghum. And in the colonial time, this stuff was imported from India. And by the English, of course, because we were English colonies here. And therefore it's taxed, and you're not supposed to grow it. It's taxed. And if you grow it yourself, the king don't get his money. He can't have a party or whatever it is that kings do in their spare time. I don't know. What do kings do? Anybody know?
Eat.
Eat. Oh, okay. Well, they can't buy all them good things to eat then if you don't give them the money. So, thing was to do, like the government likes you to do now, buy the stuff, pay the tax, keep your mouth shut. Well, you know how Americans are. They can't keep their mouth shut. So here we are. You bought this and you made your broom, or you may be lucky enough to live in a community where there actually is somebody who makes brooms. Maybe. If you live down in the flat country or, you know, by the coast, that's another thing. I don't particularly care for flatlanders either. So, most people are on their own making their brooms. And since everybody makes their own brooms, guess how many ways there are to do it? Well, there's even more ways of finishing it. A lot of your corn brooms start more or less the same, but the finishing part is, you know.
30.
Mallet House.
What is it?
Mallet House.
This is the Mallet House.
What is a Mallet House? Okay, Mallet House.
Well, did you say Mail House?
Mallet.
Mallet House.
The brick from the huge two-story house donated by the Mallet family. Brick construction, though not as common as wood, started to appear in the Bedford County after 1800. On display is a large collection of artifacts.
There's you can definitely smell the age of this stuff. You got like a stove, wood burner.
It's so neat. This is neat.
What the heck is that thing used for? What is that? Looks like that's a seat or something. You sit on that. Is that something they bathed in?
What?
This thing right here.
Oh, no.
I don't know what that is. They should have it marked.
Yeah.
Yeah. These little baby chairs, rocking chairs.
Seriously.
There's a little baby chair. That was nasty. Back in the colonial days, I guess, huh? Historic village. Okay. across the street. Go to 35. This is the Tinsmith building. Tinsmith. This everything made out of tin.
So neat.
Yeah. Everything made out of tin.
Yeah.
Stuff like this. That's what they made. Lights. Hanging lanterns. Huh? Your shirt is what? Black. This is a pottery house.
Okay.
How you doing? Good.
All right. Let's see this. This is glaze. This is what glaze looks like.
The glaze.
Now this, once this gets stirred up real good, and I'm ready to put my mugs in this, I'm gonna dip the mugs down in this. But I forgot my electric drill. It makes it a lot easier to run an electric drill and stir this stuff like this. I can do it by hand. So where you folks all traveling from?
Not far. We're from Irwin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. This is all right. Show you how. So what you do? These are designed to only grab 4 points. So when you grab a hold of the mug, you can sort of see.
Go to a different color.
Yeah, watch how fast it dries.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
See what's happening is it's getting absorbed in.
Okay.
That's why there's times I'll put water in this cup, and that water will take a while, but it'll evaporate right out through there. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, this color here that you see right there is this color right here.
Oh,
That's called desert yellow.
it's so cute.
So you dip them all like you're doing,
Yep.
and then your next step would be
Wipe the residue off the bottom, even though I waxed it, and then I can do a glaze fire. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just possibly glaze most of these with this color. I used to glaze them all different colors, and I thought, you know what? I put the orange on, it's lumpy. I got all these different colors. It's only going to camp. And you know, my buddies, they'll pay $10 for their mug. Part of their deal going up there to camp. I don't.
and so your end
I'm not
result.
putting a lot of time and effort in it.
So the end result is what you got hanging here. That's the end result.
Yeah, pretty much so.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are different colors and sorts and stuff.
These are all wet.
They were just made, yes.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I'm not not getting into trying to do it all and do all different colors and do the. Nah, I think everybody's getting the same color this year. I'm getting lazy in my old age.
It does, it dries fast.
Yeah.
All right.
Very neat.
All right, thank you.
Hey, you guys have a wonderful tour.
That's
We'll
it.
see you now.
Thank you.
Got that on camera. These are all look like they were God giveth no linen, but flax to spin. So this must be, these are just all weaving buildings.
Very interesting. Look at this, honey. It's the same thing that first house we
Yeah.
went to.
That's interesting. This has like a walk around deck. Yeah.
Huh? I like this kind of deck.
Okay. There's picnic tables and bird feeder. Yeah, it's a bird feeder. Like I said, guys, this is old Bedford Village in Bedford, Pennsylvania. This is taking you way back, like back into the, I guess, 1800s. How they used to do things back in the day. This place here, I don't know, Anita has the list. I don't know what this place is called. Okay. Kind of looks to me like this building is what?
31. It is
It's got all the guns and
Bedford County Rifles.
yes,
Dated 1803, this building once housed employees of the Bedford Springs Hotel.
there's some old guns here, man. Old pistol. Powder horn. Look at these old cartridge pouch. That's interesting. How this must have been back in these days. These men have to shoot their rifles like this.
Yeah.
Hopefully there isn't too much of a glare on there. Yeah, look at that. Somebody actually came in here.
Huh?
Somebody actually came in here and stole these guns.
Oh, wow.
You got the state police on that one.
Why?
Yeah, money. They're probably worth a lot of money. Looks like they're building one here.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's very neat. Oh, that breeze feels good.
General store. Everybody in the village would come here to get their groceries. Probably two of the
Honeymoon.
thinking is probably two would be the blacksmith and the general store.
So you're welcome.
Welcome to the general store. Play a game of checkers. Take a look at our post office. Treat yourself to something tasty. Please pay here. You drop your money in that box right there. General store, I guess back in the day, would typically have what you're seeing. Candles, brooms, shoes,
Yeah, pretty much everything.
wine for sewing. And this here was this the bank teller? This is the post office right here. This is the post office.
Is it?
Post office of 1827. And it kind of tells you, goes down the line. It goes from year to what the prices were.
2 cents. 2 penny, not 2 cents. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. Of course, back in the day, they didn't have stuff like this. Lay's potato chips and a cooler with the ice cream. You didn't have stuff like that. It's interesting.
look at this, honey. Look at this.
General store. And across the way, of course, you got the blacksmith. Yeah, important role, I'm sure. Fixing a lot of stuff for people. A lot of physical labor here.
Look at their fireplace.
Yeah.
Oh, big.
Not gonna bother with it.